All right, welcome back, everybody. Game two just about to begin here between St. Clair College and Queen's University. Once again, for game number two here, joined once again by Tommy Kwai. Now, game number one.
You butchered it.
I said Kwai again? Oh my god, I am the worst. Tommy Kwee,
It's
forgive
all
me.
good. It's all good.
I'm just going to start saying Nakutaiken. Oddly enough, why is that easier for me to say than Kwee? Oh my god, I almost did it again. Okay, enough of this. Enough of the intro. Let's get into the draft. These guys are already gotten started a little bit. I am the absolute worst, but here we go. Going into the draft for game number two. They already got a little bit of a head start on us here. Renekton, Zoe, and Ash actually getting taken off the board extremely quickly here from Queens. Aurelia, Lucian, and Echo. Once again, the bans here for St. Clair. And we managed to snag ourselves Ornn, and then Lilia once again. Meanwhile, Queens, Graves, and Camille, just like game number one.
Yeah, Queen's opting to ban out the Ash and letting the Ornn through.
And this will be the first time, more than likely, we're going to see Frez on that. I feel. I could be wrong, though.
I mean, it should be Frez on the Ornn. I've not seen a support Ornn in quite a while.
And Pantheon getting picked up here. And where is he going to go?
I have a feeling that's going to be, actually, it could be, on Miansfa, actually.
A support Pantheon.
Yeah, it's pretty good with the point and click stun. But in retaliation to that, Queen's gonna pick up the Janna here to make it even harder for Pantheon to look for it and engage.
I remember memes back in the day of picking Pantheon Leona bot lane and just never letting your opponent actually play the game because they'd just be constantly stunned. But obviously that would fall off big time as the game goes on. Now we're seeing
interesting ban coming from Queens.
Interesting one. Yeah, we haven't seen a Draven here. Where did that ban come from?
I think the Lazi plays that quite often in solo queue, so that might be the reason why. But I'd like to see St. Clair ban out the Gallier since they see the Camille.
Senna being the ban, interestingly enough, and Caitlyn gets through. It's going to be picked up for Queens.
Be interesting to see what St. Clair put on ADC in the bot lane, but looks like they're gonna go for the Kalista. A very hyper aggressive ADC early on.
And I do recall seeing that Kalista was one of the AD carries. I feel like Lazi wanted to try and pick up for this season, if not already knew it. And it's going to get locked in. First time we're going to see Lazi's Kalista.
And now Yule has to decide what he wants to play in the mid lane blind, because Queens is saving their last pick for their mid laner to counter.
I mean, even if they do go Corki again, like, what do you do to counter Corki in the mid lane? Because it's a relatively safe pick overall. Never mind, it's going to be Twisted Fate.
St. Clair looking to have double globals this game with the Twisted Fate and the Pantheon. It looks like Queens is not going to let them have that, and matching the TF pick with the Silas.
Interesting. So, wherever TF goes, I go too, apparently. But that's one way to make sure you don't get outmaneuvered. Make sure you have the right tools as well. Grant, I think it was about 1:30 or something you said before is how long he could actually hang on to that, right?
I think about 1.5, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I think. Pretty sure 1.5, but I could be wrong.
Transitioning over into the actual game, just to confirm who is playing what, see if we happen to see any surprises of sorts. However, I feel like, similar to game number one, I don't think we have any flex surprises coming our way. I can't see TF getting put on top lane or anything like that. He likes his mobility too much in that mid lane.
Oh, sorry, I totally blanked out there for some reason.
It's okay. It's okay. I have that effect on people. Sorry, everybody in the chat.
I'm just reading chat here, and it looks like it's getting a little feisty up in here.
Hey, sometimes that happens with with this being obviously open to anybody, as much as we are the hometown squad here for St. Clair, it's always awesome to see opposing members come in and respectfully talk a little trash, hopefully. Otherwise, expect the hammer to get dropped down on you at some point soon.
But it looks like both teams are just going to go through what is it, pick and ban phase really quickly onto the client side.
People fear what they cannot understand.
Interesting to see Queens opting for the same relatively the same topside picks outside of the Silas.
Draven out.
Fine. I don't need more enemies.
I think the Genesis to counteract the heavy engage that that St. Clair have with the Lily Asleep and the amount of CC that they can layer on top of that. Yeah, or saving them, pulling them out of a bad situation. But it's also going to be interesting to see the top lane matchup between Ord and the Camille, and how the junglers will influence that matchup going on into this game.
All right, start back to us here for the last couple moments here. So, this is a completely different style team composition that we've seen from St. Clair. The past 2.5 weeks or so, we've seen pretty much like very similar composition over and over again. Nautilus support. We have very similar junglers, very similar top lanes. Maybe the only thing that really gets changed out is like the mid lane and the AD carry between maybe 2 or 3 picks. Everybody say hi to Nascat, causing a scene in the background here. But this is a lot of first, so it feels like, just looking at it, I mean, there's some decent early pressure down bot, but at the same time, there's still an okay amount of scaling. Like, a similar question to what I asked before we started going into game number 1. In terms of, like, as this game goes on, do you see it swinging more towards one team? Is there going to be a team on a timer to get things moving, shut things down, or else that other team will run away, or nothing like that?
I think Queens is on that timer again with St. Clair having the Ornn and the his passive ornament as well.
Mhm.
But once Pantheon and Twisted Fate hit 6, it's gonna be on them to make plays on the map, or rather counteract them if they so choose to.
That'll definitely make sense. Of course, if you have that much mobility, you better be trying to match any sort of offense from the side of Queens, or cause some trouble yourself, of course. Make some plays, get ahead to the point where you can shut this thing down before it even really gets started.
I just realized that Morgana could have been an option too for the side of Queens, since they do have the Caitlyn.
Now, Morgana Caitlyn, I can imagine that being a rather aggressive bot lane, but is there anything else that I'm missing in regards to that? Why they would want that?
Mainly for the Morgana spell shield to block
Yeah.
CC.
No, that definitely makes sense.
Because if Lily gets her sleep onto a primary target such as the mid lane or ADC, then the fight might be lost at that point if they don't run cleanse.
Right. Now I'm kind of worried actually for the bot lane of Queens, because at least from what I remember, normally if you pick Janna, that to me that felt like, okay, we're just farming. Maybe a little bit of poke here and there, but we're just farming it out. But what if you're up against a lane that just doesn't let you do that? If Janna's able to land some tornadoes and put shields on the right targets at the right time, stop any sort of aggression, they can make it happen, but I feel like that might be a little bit difficult, but that's just me. There's a reason behind, or a reason why I'm behind the commentary desk and not on the field itself. But we'll have to see in regards to Queens.
It'll be up to who or how both ADCs and supports manipulate minion waves. Because Caitlyn, usually you want to be pushing the ADC in, which they still can do.
Right.
But if they don't have any pressure onto the bot lane of St. Clair, then they might get steamrolled themselves.
Yeah, because Caitlyn, one of the few champions in League that can still poke you even if you're in the turret without really having to worry about getting shot necessarily if you space it correctly. But I don't know. I'm just at an absolute loss for words looking at these team compositions. I'm excited to see it. And of course, game number 2 and all the broadcasts, of course, here at St. Clair College, Scenes Gaming CA, would not be possible without our sponsors, of course. And I do want to give them a shout out, of course. That is St. Clair College itself, the SRC, Zuckelman School of Business, the St. Clair Alumni Association, PC Outlet, and Tim Hortons. Thank you all so much for sponsoring St. Clair Varsity Esports here at Saints Gaming. Now, without further ado, let's get into the game, why don't we?
I just have a feeling that both teams will opt to just do a standard 5-point and not look for anything fishy.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah, so we're just going to line of scrimmage, just like you were saying. Going to keep it safe, which is a little unusual. The last couple games we've seen St. Clair opt for some level 1 invades of sorts. But not this time.
They still potentially could look for the invade onto the Raptors of the red team. But it doesn't look like they will do that. It looks like St. Clair are picking something, and they want to look for an invade into the bot side of Queens.
Just as I say, they're not going to do anything for once. Sure enough, they're going to get something started, and if Emerulia is not careful, could very well face check this St. Clair squad moving in. But oddly enough, actually going to take the long way around. Whether she felt something fishy or not, that is definitely a wise play there from Emerulia.
I have a feeling that the Janna did spot them out because I think she was in the bush just enough to see them.
Oh, fair enough.
But not get caught out.
Well, then props for not getting greedy then. So
Yep,
I know
it looks like Nini knows, and he's gonna go straight to Trick's blue buff. But Trick knows that he's gonna do that. He's gonna go straight to his own blue buff.
Yeah, definitely a solid adjustment there from Nini. Of course, last time got his buff stolen and essentially had no answer for it. Meanwhile, down this bot lane, trades occurring relatively in the favor of Queens. Trick jumping onto Nini. The buff is going to go over to, it would have went to Nini, I do believe. Trick hanging on for dear life. However, if he's not careful, he's going to walk right into triple Vanguard. And actually, right on the nick of time at the exact same time, down bot, Lazi managed to get the kill onto Emerulia, denying first blood gold at the nick of time. At the same time, Nini's going to secure a kill onto Trick and really mess up the early game here for Trick.
But last thing means for getting first blood in the nick of time before Trick goes down. But that sets Trick severely behind due to him not securing the blue buff.
And I mean, we could already see like a small part of it. We do see Nini level 3 compared to Trick's level 2. And it very well could just keep going like that where Trick's going to be behind. It very well kind of force him to... It's either one or two ways. Either he's going to try and make some plays to try and catch back up, or just be safe and just keep farming. Hope that maybe Nini gets a little bit over aggressive and try to make too many plays.
Lea does have one of the fastest clear times for a jungler nowadays because of her passive and her her Q. So if Nini lets Trick just farm up and not look for anything, then he can catch right back up fairly easily.
And this is a little bit of a rough engage here for Tanxus up in the top lane, getting brought down to a quarter HP. Prez making Ornn look like a bit of a lane bully, even though it's not exactly what I think about when I see him. But here comes an engage onto the bot side as well. Wilson got a target on its head and is going to do a ton of damage. However, Lassie going to get exhausted right before rending. So I think that may have just saved Wilson's life.
But Trick getting quite a bit of damage onto Nini here. It looks like he might look to take away the Grom.
Definitely thinking about it. However, they very well might collide here with each other in that bot lane. Both are just kind of skirting around, not necessarily doing any damage to each other. Are eventually going to go back, stop the engagement for the time being. And yeah, they invade now too.
Yule on the Twisted Fate should be level 6 soon. If he gets level 6 with how the map is right now, they could look for a potential dive bot lane.
And this is getting actually extremely over-aggressive feeling, a little bit scary here for St. Clair when you had the teammates both completely separated. Now Trick is in a world of hurt, is likely going to just sacrifice himself here. Lassie going to try and do as much damage as possible. Nice little shot there from Wilson going through pretty much the entirety of St. Clair. However, it looks like Yule was able to at least answer for one back, so 1 for 1 at this point. No, two for 1 rather. I think it was just Trick that went down. Tanxus down here as well. And okay, that's the blue card, so that's going to let Tanxus get out of dodge. Just the warning shot
They
card.
wouldn't have looked... St. Clair couldn't have looked for anything, even if it was a gold card, because Mianspa doesn't have his flash up for the flash stun. But since Tanxus doesn't have TP, Fred's going to shove in this lane and make him lose some CS and potentially lose that cannon.
Would definitely be brutal. Even looking at the CS counts right now, it's a little bit rough. Now, Yule getting jumped on here in the middle by Triple Vanyard. Going to answer back with a little bit of damage, but essentially comboed to half.
But it looks like Nini's going to look for an invade into the Raptors.
Amarulia going for a ward is going to just face check Mansfo. It's going to be half HP essentially gone just from Mansfo alone. Thankfully for Amarulia, Lassie wasn't necessarily very close to follow up with that. Otherwise, that very well could have ended up being an elimination.
But St. Clair bot lane with the Prio, they're going to look to steal the blue buff away from Nini here. And Queens have full knowledge that they are doing this. And I was looking at the stream. That is my bad. That's the wrong game.
Wrong game.
I looked like 5 minutes back in time. So, whoops. But anywho, looks like St. Clair gonna look for the Infernal Dragon here. And looks like they're gonna grab it because looks like Nini's pathing towards top side. And Queens don't have any vision of that area right now.
Yeah, completely uncontested. Going to secure that one. Get some extra damage for themselves. Extra gold and whatnot as well. And up in the top lane, of course, is constantly back and forth trading for the most part. Relatively even.
Whereas surprisingly up by a little bit in terms of CS.
This could get turned here. Trick is here for the save, plus a teleport from Frez, I do believe, coming in. But those are some low health bars on the side of St. Clair. They're going to have to use it more as a disengage. But here comes the Ornn getting smoked again, but barely getting out of dodge. Nini going to survive, but for maybe one more shot. Triple Vanyard going to get himself on the board twice, but this time it's also going to be secured by Tanxus. So 2 kills off of a attempt at an aggressive move from St. Clair. but it gets completely turned around on them. Solid job there for Queens.
Now that Queens don't have the resources to counteract the global map pressure that St. Clair have, they can look for a potential bot lane play here. And as you can see, Yule is pathing towards the bot lane right now.
I have to be a little bit careful. Maybe Mansfu could possibly bait a little bit as we see him under a quarter HP at this point. Gonna fire him at him, and then here comes the TF to follow up. Mansfu able to block any of the damage. It's gonna be the exhaust on to Yule. Maybe not necessarily the main target, but it did opt for some additional turret damage. And this is going to allow Triple Valyard some time in the mid lane alone, possibly snag a plate if he's lucky.
Frez getting caught out here.
Yep, Frez is in a world of hurt. He does not have his flash, and he is probably going to go down here. Nini going to pick up a kill for himself onto Frez.
This should result in the first Rift Herald again for the side of Queens.
I mean, it's what we saw them try to do last time. Get that top lane ahead. And by Tanksys going to make some plays in the middle towards the Dragon area, it did allow Frez to get a massive CS lead, but as soon as Tanksys got back up to the top lane, he's the one in the CS lead. And good sidestep, some decent damage coming out here from Nini, but not enough to combo him down. Although now Yule's going to have to go back for sure. Triple Valyard looking to Brass almost taking him down. I do want to apologize. This scoreboard was not updated. This is, of course, is game 2 of the best of 3. St. Clair took game number 1. And now we're seeing the different team composition come out here in game number 2. And Yule still hasn't gotten the chance to back. This is scary for him.
He's being extremely greedy right now, not wanting to fall behind in terms of EXP. But now it looks like he should have enough gold for that Rod of Ages.
Sure enough, there it is, yep.
I think that's what he was, he's staying just a tad bit longer for. And it looks like an engage coming from St. Clair bot lane. And they're going to get a kill onto Wilson.
Almost enough to try and go after. However, if they're not very careful, Nini's going to come around just in time to possibly pressure Lazzy. And it looks like Valyard is here too. Trick is coming in to try and back things up a bit, but it may be St. Clair getting back to their turret just in time. As a bit of an engagement happened here in the top lane as well, but everybody able to get out alive on both sides here. With the exception of Wilson going down by that rend.
Since looks like TF ulti is almost back up, so I'm curious to see where he will go next with that Destiny.
I mean, they already got Lassie 3 eliminations so far, so he's doing fantastic in terms of gold, I would imagine. Sure, a little down on CS, but it's kind of to be expected when you're up against a Caitlyn like Wilson. Maybe show Frez up top a little bit of love, but we'll have to see.
Oh my, Trick.
Trick got completely popped, and nobody ate the bullet for him. Wilson going to get on the scoreboard here after a solid pick coming out from Queen's University.
You'll almost narrowly managing to block the bullet for him, but could not block it in time.
Yeah, did not want to opt to fire his flash off for it, which definitely understand. I think it's a long cooldown, but unfortunately, gonna lose a member for that. As the rest of the Queen squad looking at Dragon.
So we might have a chance of getting another Ocean Rift this game, or even the Mount. Oh my goodness, Miensfa stealing the Dragon with that spear shot.
That's absolutely brutal. I'm at a bit of a loss for words for that one. The smite was available by Nini, and somehow the spear shot going to be able to take it. I mean, big props to Mansfu, but unfortunately, 2 of St. Clair's members, their bot lane, going to get completely destroyed in the process, and they're going to probably lose a lot of plates here if the minion wave comes in time.
I think they're going to lose at least 2 plates here, but looks like Queen's looking for a play onto Yule, forcing the flash out of the TF.
getting out of dodge this time, but if they're quick about it, won't be so lucky next time. As yeah, there's going to be 2 plates, like you said, before Lazzy even gets back. And I guess that's one way to use the ultimate.
Yule still has his Destiny up and could potentially look for a play again onto the bot lane, because it looks like they might be shoving in St. Clair. And that's the wrong screen again. Never mind. I am dumb.
Oh, it happens to the best of us.
That happened twice this time. But it looks like Trix might get caught out here.
Okay, gonna just opt to retreat. Did a good chunk the Trick, actually, but not gonna opt to follow up. Solid engage here down the bot lane. Wilson getting extremely low, but I don't think that Lassie was in range to pull the Rend out in time. Either that or Amarulia there with the healing. I forget what the ultimate itself is called, but came in clutch to keep Wilson up to a high enough level not to go down.
Now that Amarulia doesn't have the Gen ulti, St. Clair might be looking to call Yule down into the bot lane and potentially look for a dive, but oh, they're opting to stay and defend their tower.
I think so far for Yule, we saw the Destiny once in the bot lane, but that was when I believe the Saints members were kind of split up a little bit out of position, not able to really follow up on that engage. Now, Nini's still giving Yule a hard time here in this mid lane. Of course, Yule was doing a fantastic job in that last round on Corki. Had quite the score for himself. Was able to do a ton of damage. I know that's still putting a dent in the thoughts of Queen's University. Want to make sure he doesn't get a jump start again.
Wilson and Amarulia are just so scared to walk up against Lazzy and Miansfa, knowing that any of them can get, or either of them can get popped at any time.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of like what I was worried about. It's like, yeah, we're just farming. That's basically it. If you walk into range and don't engage, sure, we could poke you, but if we're in range to poke, you're probably in range to get smoked by a stun. So they could just do nothing but constantly keep trying to bait out engages. And we have 2 happening at the same time here. Nini is down on the bot lane here. The teleport's going to come in. This is going to be Frez jumping in. The ulti coming out from Lazzy. Barely off target since that flash comes in. Frez is not going to get the second portion of his ultimate, so that big CC ulti is going to be completely for naught. And we're going to have ourselves 5 in the bot lane. This is going to be extremely scary for St. Clair. Going to try to run away. The Herald is out. But at the same time, it's looking pretty rough here for St. Clair. 2 going down extremely quickly to the hands of Valyard. And 1 more. It's going to be Tanxis for the cleanup. And they are going to absolutely slaughter these bot lane turrets.
Classic nightmare. 5 players in the bot lane.
This is when you start throwing out the question mark pings like, where are you guys? There's 5 here. Where are you? And I'm pretty surprised actually that Yule, he's got the Destiny, so he can obviously get down there at pretty close to a moment's notice, but either just opted too late where it was already too far gone, or I don't know what he was doing, but not going to be there for the support.
I think Queens made that play around Yule's back timing. Because if they knew that he's back in base, he won't be there in time to counteract that play in the bot lane.
That definitely makes sense for the initial part. But when they continued the chase, I was just surprised to see nothing. But at the same time, maybe it was already too far gone.
I'm pretty sure it was too far gone, but Miansfa getting caught out here.
Yeah, Trick there as well. Yule's here for this one, though, however, and he's going to try and put as much damage on the Triple Valyard as he can. The ult from Amarulia got to keep everybody topped off for the most part, even through the Ignite. It's going to be Rend onto Tanxis, bring them down to about halfway. Still some additional spears, but everybody hanging on by a thread for the most part. Miansfo's Pantheon extremely low. They are going to absolutely jump onto Yule. They're going to jump on the Pantheon next. Miansfo's down. There goes Lazzy as well. Triple kill to Tanxis in this team fight. And uh-oh, this is looking a little bit flip-flopped compared to game number 1. 32,000 gold onto the side of Queens, and they're going to possibly get the kill on the Trick to make this entire engage a 4-0.
Triple Valor with the Hextech GLP to finish off Trick there. Denying the possibility of them being able to steal the dragon. And meanwhile, Wilson is in the bot lane, getting a little bit of damage onto that inhibitor tower, but not too much.
Yeah, just soften it up a little bit, but at the same time, I mean, Nini was able to just take care of Dragon, so what else do you really need to do? Might as well start getting ready to set up a plate. Tanks is getting right up in the Frez's face. Absolutely does not care. 5 eliminations. Has that Trinity Force ready to go, and some additional items. They might have gotten Tanks this far enough ahead this time, compared to last one.
Potentially. He still has the option. I think his next item could potentially be a Ravenous Hydra, or he can opt to finish the Death Stance instead to be even more tanky and harder to kill for St. Clair. I said that backwards, but you get it.
I think I know what you're talking about. Engage down into the mid lane, however, the Cavalry instantly showing up here for the side of Queens. There's the ult coming out from Lassie to actually save. I think that was, yeah, Mensfu coming in. Keeping everybody alive, but yeah, St. Clair forced to run for the hills, and they're probably going to give up 2 turrets here.
But Ornn is getting very close to hitting level 13. He's already level 11. Once he gets to level 13, he gets his ornament upgrades.
Is that what this game basically relies on now? It's just like St. Clair needs time and a good portion of it.
But I don't think Queens will give him the option to do that.
I mean, I'll definitely not count this out for Saints. I know last week it looks like all hope was absolutely lost, and they managed to swing that one around. However, this is not Fanshawe. Lassie nearly getting popped. That's going to be enough, actually. Nini going to just essentially pop Lassie right away, even through the heal.
Even with the pick, Wilson has no mana, so he is potentially vulnerable here to a play. Still has the flash, though.
Yeah, sure, you can't fire your net off or whatnot, but at the same time, Caitlyn in general just wants to be auto-attacking for the most part. Now the gank is happening down bot to Yule. The stun's going to come out to try and slow down Nini. Does not matter. Triple Valyard taking care of the kill that time by.
St. Clair just getting picked apart here, 1 by 1.
And this is what I like to see, though, coming out from Queens. When we saw the match last week against Fanshawe, where game 1, like, Fanshawe got a fantastic lead. However, it felt like they did very little to try and extend their lead afterwards. Like, they got their lead, and then they kind of just played relatively passive, and then that allowed St. Clair to just scale up. Queens are not doing that. They are constantly looking for picks. They're getting objectives. They're getting themselves further and further ahead. We're borderline like 9K and growing here, it looks like, in terms of a gold lead. And Queens keep this up. We could be seeing a game number 3 between these two.
Looks like the Baron was pinged out in with the possibility of Queens being on the Baron, but looks like the reality is they opted to reset instead and spend their gold. Also, I'm surprised to not see a Storm Razor onto the Caitlyn. Instead, she opted for the Rapid Fire Cannon as a second item.
And now, or just for myself, I'll say, so why would you Storm Razor, or why would you take the cannon instead of Storm Razor? What's their thinking here, do you think?
Just for the harassment, really, of the extended range that you get from Rapid Fire Cannon. But with Storm Razor, if that Caitlyn gets an auto attack onto Lassie on the Callista, Lassie just can't move. But looks like they're gonna get into a team fight here.
Once again, these Ornn ults haven't exactly been on target. That's what may be somehow going to get out of dodge. Trick is going to get himself a kill. However, it is now starting to fall apart here for St. Clair. Triple Valyard shows up and just starts smoking everybody. Meanwhile, down bot, it doesn't even matter how it's happening in this team fight. We got Tanks down bot securing himself inhibitors. 4 members of St. Clair down. And this one is looking brutal. We're going to see Tanxus continue on towards the Nexus turrets. I mean, Trick is the only one here, already a little bit behind in terms of level from the very beginning. Tanxus would make that a very easy 1v1, opting to get out of dodge after smoking at least half of the first Nexus turret's HP.
At this point, this is Queen's game to lose. They should not lose this game at all. They're just choking Saints out of this game slowly.
Yeah, Dragons secured. Teamfight victories secured. All lanes are essentially pushed. Spending their gold. What else do they have to do? I guess Baron would be the next target in all reality, unless they want to try and go down and get some turrets. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Baron next on the docket for him.
Queens would be on Soul Point right here if Mianspa didn't steal the dragon earlier in the game with the spear shot.
I'm still surprised that happened.
So he bought his team just a little bit more time, but looks like Queen's looking for a play here onto St. Clair, but Triple Value might be caught out here.
I mean, that'd be a big target to take down right away. However, slowed down just long enough to allow Tanxus and the rest of the squad of Queens to just push forward and annihilate the Saints. That was an extremely quick teamfight victory for them. Wiping them all off the board. Aced, the awesome games done quick would like to know your location for that teamfight. And this one is no longer in Saints' reach.
And the Super Minions are already at the Nexus Towers, and this should be game 4 Queens, going to game 3.
Yeah, nobody in sight. They're not respawning for the next couple seconds. They're not going to be able to stop this. Too many of them, too many minions. Solid job, Queens University, flipping this one around. St. Clair tries something new, and it gets absolutely shut down here in game number 2.
Yeah, Queens did such a great job at counteracting every play that Saints tried to make, and resulting in either trading 0 for 2 or just outright just obliterating Saints.
Yeah, this time it felt like the plan that they were sort of going for, like get Tanxus ahead and go. This time it worked.
That's been the name of the game for this game and last game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, game 1, it took a little bit of warm-up, I guess, but second time around, they do secure this nicely. Well, everybody did fantastic, too. Triple Valued with 9 eliminations, 1 death. Tanxus 7-0. And then even the other members, they may not necessarily have the eliminations, but like 16 assists from both Nini and Amarulia. The teamwork was absolutely clicking that time. And then they got the lead, they pushed it, they extended it, secured it, compared to what we saw from Fanshawe last week. So nicely done there from Queens. But this means we get a game 3, which is always exciting.
Be interesting to see what St. Clair decide to ban this game going into game 3.
I would not be surprised to see them kind of fall back on their defaults for this final one here. But we'll definitely have to see momentarily. We're going to take another quick 5-minute break, and we'll be back in the action for game number 3. Stay tuned, everyone.